I am in opposition to House Bill 2128B. Simply put, this bill is unfair. The bill goes directly against the intent of the original bill from 1999, Senate Bill 792, that established a master service agreement for tobacco manufacturers that were found culpable in a court of law and settled with the state. For other manufacturers who were not found culpable, the state established an escrow account. The purpose of this account, as clearly spelled out in that statute, was to level the competitive playing field so those businesses didn't have a price advantage in the marketplace, and to create a reserve fund in case these businesses were later found culpable in a court of law. And after 25 years, if these businesses had not been found culpable and ordered by a court to pay a settlement, the escrow account would be returned to the businesses. The Oregon Attorney General's special counsel made this clear in testimony at the time in 1999, and I quote, "The state is not taking the money." And again, quote, "This is not money that goes to the state," end quote. With this understanding set in statute, and with the Attorney General's own testimony, 30 to 40 companies have contributed to this escrow, which exceeds 40 million total at this point. And here we are, nearly 25 years later. At a time when this money should soon go back to these businesses, House Bill 2128 changes that by having the state keep the money and calling it an equity assessment. The bill essentially says, hey, we know you haven't been found culpable in a court of law, but we think we should keep your money anyway. But the money belongs to the businesses and not the state. In my opinion, this is an illegal taking from a private business. It's not a tax. That would require a consensus vote from this body. And it's not a court settlement. So what's left? This is a retroactive taking from businesses without due process. What businesses are next? Can the state just decide that an industry has harmed it and then pass a bill to take money from that industry? Hey, industry XYZ, we've decided that you've cost the state money. We aren't going to tax you because that would take 3/5 majority vote of the legislature, and we know we can't pull that off. And we're going to take you to court, but that would require us to prove that you've done us harm. Instead, we'll just take it from you with a simple vote by a partisan legislature. The DOJ sent out a letter a few days ago to justify this bill. They make the argument that this is not a tax, but an assessment. Well, what's an assessment? That's a distinction without a difference. There is really no difference. And the DOJ also made a very specific claim in their email. They stated, and I quote, that existing law provides, and they're quoting ORS 323-803-4 here, it is the policy of the state of Oregon that financial burdens imposed on this state by cigarette smoking be borne by tobacco product manufacturers rather than by this state, period. They're quoting the statute, at least that's what they're saying they're doing in the email. But I want to emphasize their quote of the statute ended with a period after the word state. But the quote doesn't have a period after the word state. The statute doesn't. The sentence continues. Here is the full sentence from ORS 803-323, Section 4. It is the policy of the state of Oregon that financial burdens imposed on this state by cigarette smoking be borne by tobacco product manufacturers rather than by this state to the extent such manufacturers either determine to enter into a settlement or are found culpable by the courts. That is the full statute. Now, why the DOJ decided to cut it in half and end it with a period where there was no period, I'll leave that up to everyone here to decide. These businesses have not entered into a settlement, and they have not been found culpable by the courts. Contrary to DOJ opinion, Oregon law does not give them the authority to take a private business's money without due process. There is no way this can be legal, and it's definitely not fair. And finally, it sets a terrible, dangerous precedent for this body that we would pass legislation that takes money from private businesses without due process. One more anti-business piece of legislation coming out of the Oregon legislature. I urge a no vote on House Bill 2128B. Thank you.